Patricia Gibson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I want to begin by thanking the Honourable Member for Linlithgow and East Falkirk for his very comprehensive exposition of the issue which we're debating here today. And I want to echo the tributes that have been made to David Amess, who is we very much feel his presence today in this debate, despite his absence, as a great champion of animal welfare, which he was, and I'm sure his colleagues in the main chamber who are currently debating the Kept Animals Bill also have David Amess very much at the forefront of their minds as well on this particular day. And I know how interested my constituents in North Ayrshire and Arran are on this issue, as I suspect citizens across the UK are. And this is evidenced by the tens of thousands of signatures which have been referred to for the petitions that we are debating today. And this can also be said with some confidence because of a survey carried out by the UK charity Frame, a charity which undertakes research into alternatives to animal testing, which found in a survey conducted last year that 84% of respondents would not buy cosmetics in the knowledge that any of its ingredients had been tested on animals. And at this point, Madam Chair, I think it's important that I say, based on the experience that I have of being in this House since 2015, that I can say without any hesitation or equivocation that I receive more emails about animal welfare related issues than any other issue currently facing politics today or politicians today or this Parliament today. And I'm sure, and I see some nods of agreement, I'm sure that we're all in the same boat in that regard. People care about animal welfare issues and profoundly and deeply, and it's something I think that every constituent shares with every other constituent. There's no disagreement on it, and it's something that we have to take note of. But the sad fact is that despite the widespread public abhorrence towards animal testing, this is a significant industry in the UK, with Home Office statistics showing that 3.4 million procedures involving animals took place across the UK in 2019. And unfortunately, there is a growing consensus that not enough is being done to truly represent a significant and consistent decrease in animal experiments, and we've heard much about that today. There is evidence showing that people in Scotland and Wales believe that more should be done to prioritise humane and human-relevant science. And of course, I would suspect that the good people of England feel exactly the same. What is clear is that the overwhelming majority of people believe that where alternative, non-animal research methods are available, experimenting on animals becomes even more unacceptable. And it's worrying to learn that animal tests have been undertaken in Europe and the UK for which there are accepted, validated alternatives. What I and my constituents in North Ayrshire and Arran want to know is, why is testing in such circumstances permitted? Why is it that tests, for example, is carried out on rabbits, where a substance is dropped into the eyes of a live rabbit which causes damage and blindness, where a lethal dose of botulinum is injected into mice, which causes paralysing and suffocation within days? Why are these tests carried out, as documented in the short briefing by Cruelty Free International? Why are these tests carried out when non-animal viable alternatives are available? When asked about specific species in research, the overwhelming view of the public is that testing on animals such as dogs, cats and monkeys is unacceptable, and alternatives to animal testing should be a funding priority for science and innovation. And still, the UK remains one of the top users of primates and dogs in experiments in all of Europe. And we now know that recent developments in evolutionary and developmental biology and genetics has significantly increased our understanding of why animals have no predictive value for human response to drugs or pathophysiology of human diseases. What is needed, what my constituents want to see, is for the UK Government to mandate a rigorous public scientific hearing to reduce unnecessary harm involved in animal experiments and ban this immoral practice, pursuing alternatives instead. We need greater transparency in the animal research industry and a commitment by the UK Government to understand the sentience of animals and their welfare in relation to the outdated methods of animal testing. I am sure that my constituents and the constituents of every member in this room would be shocked to learn that whilst the Animal Sentience Bill enshrines in law the ability of animals to experience joy and feel suffering and pain, but that the UK Government does not recognise animals undergoing scientific experiments as having sentient rights, as they are excluded from the protection of the Animal Welfare Act and its unnecessary suffering clause. This is an unacceptable state of affairs, especially in view of the fact that in a previous debate in which I participated on the testing of cosmetics on animals on the 1st of May 2018, the then Minister, the Right Honourable Gentleman for Camborne and Redruth, said that testing on animals is carried out, and I quote, only where there are no practical alternatives available. Now, clearly that's not the case, so perhaps the Minister can comment on that and provide clarification. And this has already been pointed out in some detail by my colleague, the Honourable Gentleman from Linlithgow and East Falkirk. But there is an apparent contradiction here, so I'm hoping today that the Minister can clear that up. New approach methodologies don't use animals and instead use advanced in vitro and in silico technologies to model diseases, test treatments and investigate biological processes in humans. With the New Medicines Manufacturing Innovation Centre to be based in Renfrewshire in Scotland, we are well placed in Scotland to spearhead a paradigm shift to next-generation human-relevant medicine. And this is the kind of shift we need to see and the kind of shifts our constituents want to see, as indicated by the Honourable Lady from Putney. In the debate on the 1st of May 2018, to which I've already referred, I also remember the then Minister, the Right Honourable Gentleman for Camborne and Redruth, saying that the Government would continue to tighten regulations on animal testing. So can the Minister today tell us what tightening of regulations has actually taken place over the past 3.5 years since the previous Government Minister gave this commitment? It's also the case that in that debate the Minister said that an independent trade policy would provide opportunities, and that's a quote, opportunities to look at this issue. Can the Minister tell us what exactly has been looked at and what actions this looking has brought about, as I'm sure we're all keen to know. But I hope it's not the case that we've had 3.5 years of drift and delay on this matter, because that would be most disappointing. We have been told repeatedly that Brexit offers the opportunity to raise the bar on the quality of the products we import, as well as on animal welfare issues. And my inbox, and I'm sure many others would agree, my inbox is filled with constituents who fear that standards will fall, not rise. Nevertheless, if Brexit really does offer that opportunity, as we have been told, to go further on issues such as animal testing than we did before Brexit, can the Minister update us on what advantages have been taken so far of these opportunities, these much lauded opportunities, which were so loudly proclaimed at the time? Again, I'm sure we're all keen to know. So like many in this chamber, I represent tens of thousands of constituents who are very, very exercised about these matters. So I hope the Minister is able to reassure us on these points and the other questions raised today. We're all keen to hear progress on this issue, since anything that is or is perceived to be unnecessary cruelty to animals is anathema to the overwhelming majority of people and has no place in our society.